So Chris Probst is a shop owner. She is the owner of Bill Crestmoor's Automotive in Colorado. And she's been through a lot of different hiring and recruiting pieces in her shop. And we'll give her an opportunity to talk about what she's been through and how she overcomes some of these things. And then today we'll talk about how do you set your business up to recruit the best team. So now that it's 10, we'll go ahead and get started. So I won't keep anybody waiting and those that join here a little bit. So Chris, welcome today.
Hi, how are you? How is everybody? Thanks for having me.
So, I want to start off, it's funny because I hear so many people talk about how hard it is to find technicians and drivers and service advisors and managers out there in this workforce today. But I know you've been through a lot over the last year and kind of replaced your whole crew and found good people, didn't you?
We did. We had several people quit between April and July last year. My last employee left in July, and we do have one guy that's been with us since November of 2021. He is still with me. He was our last technician that we had, but I had no service advisors. It was me, Bill, Brian, and Roy in the back because we had just one technician. Yeah, it was real rough. It took us a while to find people, but so far we're now fully staffed, actually.
Well, that's great news. Well, today I'm going to talk about different things. And I know everybody's going to say, well, we're looking for the best tips in recruitment and stuff. And I'm going to talk about things that a lot of people don't think about. And I'm going to use you as a reference to see how this really pertains to hiring and recruiting, because I want to open everybody's mind to it. So to start off with, first, what I want to start off today first with is talking about the operational shop or the operational business. Everybody wants that business, that they have the vehicles being fixed by the technicians, they have service advisors handling the customers, or if they're doing towing, they have the drivers, they have the dispatchers all in place. You have a manager running the business. You as the owner can come and go as you please. You're free to do what you want to do. The business is profitable. You can make a lot of money. This is the ideal land that a lot of business owners want to be in. And the thing about it is employees is what gets you to that ideal land. You have to have employees. So it's kind of the catch-22. You got to have employees, but you can't find employees, so you can't be operational, but you want to be operational. And that's a big thing, isn't it, Chris?
It is. One of the things that I will speak to on that is recruiting is scary. Because when we first started, it was like, okay, can we afford a higher paying technician that has more experience, that's closer to a master tech, and a lot of time I've talked to shop owners and they're like, well, we just can't afford more employees right now. However, your shop is not going to grow if you don't hire people in those positions, because like Drive always says, the biggest problem in a shop is typically the owner.
Well, it's funny that you kind of mentioned that getting the right employees and putting the higher paid people or getting the people in there. And there's a quote that I have up on the next screen. And it's, the funny thing about it is Richard Branson said this best: clients do not come first. Employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they'll take care of your clients. And that rings so true in our automotive industry. If you have the right technicians and you take care of them, you pay them the right wages, you have the right service advisors, the dispatchers, the painters, depending on what type of shop or business you have, the right drivers for your tow business. All of this, if you take care of those employees, they'll take care of your customers. So what we want to talk about is what I want to start going into is, this leads me to company culture. The culture within the business is one of the biggest recruiting things that you can have. How the business operates, how everything runs and flows. What kind of environment do you have for your team? Chris, I know you work really hard on your company culture right now. Talk about some of the culture stuff that you do, some of the things you do to get the team to work together. Were they always happy and stuff like that?
One of the things we've built an actual family here. I mean, we spend so much time at the shop with these guys and my gals up front. Shop culture, that's a really, really big thing for me. It needs to be a nice, clean, organized working environment. Everybody needs to get along. Everybody needs to be friendly. You know, buying them lunch just randomly out of the blue, just because it builds team morale. It keeps everybody going, and it shows that you care. You know, throwing a bonus at an employee because he did an incredible job on something he was working on, or he did a great job that week. You know, and it doesn't even have to be cash. It can be something, gift cards. It can be a day off. You know, my employees appreciate that. They always appreciate, you know, if I throw them cash or money or something like that. But one of the feedback that I get here is that they love working here because of the way we treat them. Yes, we have expectations, but you know, if they mess up, we're not screaming and yelling at them or berating them. We're telling them, okay, it happens. Let's find out what went wrong so that we can improve on that, rather than just, okay, you're out of a job now, or you're getting disciplined or written up or whatever else. They appreciate the fact that we will work with them. And because if something goes wrong, typically it's a training issue. There's typically a training issue involved there. So we work to better our employees, not berate them and bring them down. Make sure they have time to spend with their families and their kids and their puppies and their kitties, whatever they have at home. You know, it just that. And if I do find that if my tone is low, everybody's tone is low. But if I come in the morning, I say hi to everybody, ask how everybody is doing, their tone, everybody's tone raises.
You know, it's
So
funny you mentioned that. And, you know, part of the company culture is what I was going to bring up in today's webinar is making sure you don't have a tiger in the shop. And what I mean by a tiger in the shop, it could be another technician, it could be a service advisor, it could be another employee that you're not aware of. It could be a person that's grouchy, that is puts down other people or holds them back, unwilling to help, unwilling to train. There's so many things that could be the tiger in the shop that could hurt your recruitment efforts. And when I say that is, you could have that one person that could be your most productive employee in the back, but they could be a reputation out there that nobody wants to work beside them. And that could be affecting your recruitment efforts. So, and then also, there's one thing I always tell everybody, they got to have that gut check moment. Sometimes you got to check and see if you as the owner may be that tiger. You know,
yeah.
we know that things get stressful running a business. You have demands, you have customers wanting to pick up their vehicles, you have parts, you have things that don't go right. You have days that go right, days that don't go right, jobs that go right. There's all kinds of things that happen in there. But your attitude as the owner can be a big factor on your company culture. If you're out yelling and screaming and being forceful and making the day where the guys say, I just can't wait until it's 5 o'clock and punch out, you've got to change yourself. Or if you have that manager or that employee in the shop that causes that same thing, you got to make sure that you take care of those problems and correct them.
Yes. I used to be that stressed out, grouchy owner. I've had to do a whole lot of self-awareness and self-improvement in that area, just because, you know, if a technician messed up and it cost me money, or if we didn't get a part on time or something, it would put me in a bad mood. And yes, it all starts with the owner, because if you come in, you know, your hair is blazing on fire and you're just that way, if you come in that way, the entire tone of the shop drops completely.
Correct. And what you're talking about over here as your owner attitude and everything else is also installing policies and procedures in the shop, how everybody acts, how everybody is to do certain things. I will tell everybody on this call right now, good employees like well put together structure. They want to be in a clean, organized, structured business. They do not like chaos. If your business is chaos and they see it, you could be losing job applications. You could be losing people that you're recruiting just because they know the chaos exists. and they can see the chaos in many different ways. And I will talk when we get into the recruiting side of this here in just a little bit on things that you got to be aware of and make sure you correct. Policies and procedures and having that structure in place makes your business more attractive to come to. When it's organized and the shop flows good and the cars come in and out, they come in and they do their job and they go home and they know what their job is and they know how everything's supposed to be done. It attracts higher level people. Now, Chris, what have you experienced on that?
A lot of the employees that we have here, we've gotten referrals from employees we had. But if you have the right policies in place, if you have an attendance policy in place and you have a policy regarding days off and holidays and stuff like that, the employees, they know what the structure is. And one of the things that I like to share with my people is, we have policies for everybody else, but we also have policies as executives. And, keeping your tone and your attitude in check, that policy needs to start with you too.
It's a very good point. You as the owner have got to follow the policies and procedures within your business. If you're bypassing them or not following them, then your crew will not follow them. And it's visible for the whole world to see.
Yep. And you have to enforce them because, if you have one person that takes 2 days off every week just because, and everybody else is showing up for work and you never follow your policy and discipline that person that's not showing up, everybody's going to look at and be like, well, is that the favorite? Or why do they get away with it and I don't?
Yeah, and it establishes that's part of the culture that we look at in there. Because if you have a culture where you don't take care of somebody violating policy, but you do with certain people and with certain people you don't, that gets known and it can hurt your reputation as an owner and as a business. The other part of it that goes along with policies and procedures is training. I love this quote by Henry Ford saying the only thing worse than training your employee and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. Every business needs to have a good training program. And right now in today's economy and the type of people that are out looking for jobs, training is the number one benefit that you can offer to employees and potential employees. When you give them on the job training and have a good training program, it attracts a lot more people to your business.
And we're currently very culturally diverse. We've got a few people working here that are not from America, but there's a little bit of a language barrier there. So we modified so we modified our inspections. We added Spanish to our inspections so that our technicians that fluently speak Spanish and they speak English but not so well, they can still read the inspection and know what they have to do. So we're making you make adjustments for the people that you want to come work for you. And these guys that I have, they're amazing. And
it's a matter of training how you want those done, and then being able to adapt your training to the people that you have.
Yes.
So why I bring up training is because one of the number one surveyed things in Gen Z right now, which is a population of generation that's going into the workforce, is on the job training. They love it. And when you offer it, that's an attract point on it. Now we get into like the recruitment of your business and what's recruitment? Well, I want you to know that recruitment is a marketing action. A lot of times we think about recruitment as put an ad out on Craigslist, put an ad out on Indeed, wait for the applications to come in, then we're done with the recruitment. But recruitment's a lot more than just that. I want you to really think about this and take a look at your business when you look at recruitment. What do people know about your business? What is the image you're presenting in your community? This includes word of mouth, reviews, testimonials. What's your reputation as a boss? Would you work for you? That's the biggest question you got to ask. Would you work for you? Would you apply at this business if you were looking for a job? There's a lot of things that come into the marketing of recruitment. Nowadays, I want you to understand that the typical person looking for an employee or an employee looking for a job spends 1.5 to 2 hours researching businesses before they even apply to that business.
Mhm.
They do a lot of research online. They may drive by your business. They may even stop by and see how things are going without you even knowing it. So you want to be very careful about what is your reputation? What are you putting out there? How are you marketing your business? Yes, you market your business to get customers, but are you marketing your business to get employees too? Here's just a few of the things. Is the facility clean and professional? Do you have a good pay system? You know what? If you don't have a good pay system, I'll tell you right now, that word gets out and people do not apply. How are you involved with social activities in your neighborhood, your community? What is your leadership like in there? How's your website and your web presence, your social media activities? These are all so important to recruiting in today's world. I can't stress it enough. I mean, it's not just go out and put an application or an ad out on Indeed or Craigslist. It's how does everything else work in your business? And understand that the current workforce, they grew up with technology. They understand the internet. They had a phone in their hand when they were kids. They use social media. They communicate primarily through social media and text. So you got to be adapting your shop to do this kind of stuff. Now,
Yes,
Chris, when you were going through this process, you had to do it. You upped your internet presence, didn't you?
we did up our internet presence. You speak about Indeed and all these other websites where you can download resumes or look for people. One of the things that we do is constant recruiting is important. Even if you're fully staffed, you're getting on Indeed or wherever you're looking for technicians, and you're actually sending emails to potential or prospective employees, even if you're not hiring at the moment, but just like marketing, where you do your flyers and your oil change reminders, your recommended repairs, and you send out, specials on social media and text blasts, email blasts, just like you're doing all of that. I have found that actually marketing on like the Indeed website or ZipRecruiter and going and actively looking for resumes, contacting those people to see if they are interested or even looking to switch jobs, talking to the tool guys through the grapevine, making sure that word's out there, asking your customers to refer somebody they trust that may want to learn or work for you. Hiring, one of the big things, we got 2 younger kids here, and our marketing strategy with that was, why pay for school? Come let us teach you. And we got two helpers in the back, 2 apprentices that way. We also have a very, very big banner that we put on the front of the building that says now hiring, and depending on where you're at in the country, that Indeed works in some places and some places it doesn't. In Denver, Indeed doesn't work real well. I can get contacts and get people out there, but the sign that we have and word of mouth has been what's brought me the most employees.
Well, and the other piece of it, and I'm talking about the social media and the internet presence, and it needs to be plastered that you're hiring all over, but there's other pieces to your online presence that's very important because technicians will research you. And to give a couple of examples, I pulled up an evaluation of a page that we did. Now, this is a Yelp. Everybody, I don't want to get in the debate. Love them, hate them as a shop owner. I don't care, but I want you to know Yelp is important. Because guess what? If you look for an auto shop near you on an iPhone and ask Siri, it goes to Yelp to pull its results. So when you look at your Yelp page, is it claimed? Is it set up in the right categories? Is it name, address, consistent, and everything else? But also, there's other big things too. Where do you rank? When do you pull up? If somebody puts auto repair, brake repair, stuff like that. But the more important thing when it comes to the recruiting is when you have, what's your rating? What's your star rating? What are your reviews in there? What do those reviews say? because those reviews paint a picture about how your shop runs. And for a potential employee, this could be very big for you, whether you get that employee or you don't get that good employee that you're looking at, because they've read your reviews. I guarantee they've gone online and read your reviews. So, Yelp is one of the platforms I say to be very careful and check, but also your Google business page. Do you got that page claimed? What's your star rating? Same as Yelp, but Google is more prominent, a lot more search engines. It's the Android phones go to Google. Most desktops, everybody uses Google. 80% of the searches are done on Google, but they're going to do their research of your business. And one more page is going to show up when they do their research is your Facebook page. And I'll tell you right now, Facebook, it isn't one of those anymore where you can go recruit on Facebook. You used to be able to recruit and have the hiring pages on there. You can't do that anymore, but it still plays a vital role. This paints a picture of how your shop goes, what you say to your customers, how you treat your employees. If you highlight an employee of the month on your Facebook page, that person is going, wow, they take pride in who works for them. Maybe that's somewhere I want to be, a part of the family that I want to be a part of. But if you're not posting on your Facebook, you're not managing your Facebook page, and you're not doing anything with it, it's missed opportunities that you have out there.
We got a lot of people from Facebook. So I was kind of sad to see that aspect of Facebook go away. But like you said earlier, everybody nowadays, social media is the thing. So,
the average Facebook user stays on Facebook 2 hours a day now.
Yeah, I would believe that.
So putting your information about your shop, how fun it is to work at your shop, all the interesting jobs you get to do at your shop, how your team works together on your Facebook page, those kind of posts attract people to your business. The other thing you want to look at is your website. I'm showing an example right now, but do you have a careers page on your website? Is it prominent where somebody can say, I know to go out, what to go look for? And in that careers page, you should have all the positions that you're hiring for your business. This one is a good example of a technician ad that they put up. Tells everything about the shop, everything about the benefits of working for the business. Now, one of the things we always see so much of is recruitment ads. Do not put limitations in your recruiting ads, even on your website, Indeed, Facebook. If you're putting it out there, do not put limitations on it. And what do I mean by limitations? One of the first things shop owners like to do, must have tools, must be ASC certified, 3 to 5 years of job experience, clean driver's record, knows how to fix every diagnostic job. You start putting that in your ads and you're limiting the number of people that can apply. Same goes with the tow companies. Drivers, 3 to 5 years experience, clean CDL, pass a drug test. They put all these limitations in your hiring ad. Don't put those in your hiring ad. What you put in your hiring ad is, this is a fun, family-friendly environment to work in. We're all part of a team. We have on-the-job training. We have insurance. We have medical. We have benefits. We have paid vacations. Put all the good pluses about working in your business. Look, all that other stuff that you want to know about that employee, you can find out during the interview. You can get that information during the interview, but don't put a limit on your hiring ads when you put them out there in the world to see, because one of the things that happens is you put those limitations on. And I see the other one is this one. You'll see they put $65,000 to $140,000 as a salary. That opens this for a broad spectrum of people to come in. But if a person thinks they're only worth $60,000 and you're advertising the job for $65,000, they may not apply. Or if you have advertised that job for $65,000, the guy thinks he's worth $100,000, he ain't gonna apply. So, take those, leave the range, leave the openness to your resumes and stuff. But the other part of it too is start thinking outside the box when people apply. You should be doing a phone screen with them. Do a phone call with them. Have a conversation. During that first phone call with any potential employee, you're selling your business. You're selling why that person wants to come work for you, why they want to come in and have an in-person interview. And if you really want to make sure people show up to in-person interviews, I found this to be very effective. Invite them out to dinner one evening. What's a dinner cost for getting a good employee? If you do your interview over at dinner, you'll most likely get them to show up to the interview.
Yeah. And when we're talking, so Brian does most of my recruiting. When he's talking to someone, if he gets a really good vibe from them, just, if the conversation goes from talking about potential employment to just talking as a normal human being, that's a great vibe. And that could potentially definitely be somebody that you want in your shop, even if they're not fully trained or whatever in the technician world or the service advisor world. But if a great personality that's going to fit in your culture with your team, invite them in for a working interview so that you can see how they are and then what you can expand on after that point if you really like them.
Yeah, that's a big point. The working interviews is really big. And the other part of interviewing the people and trying to find the right people, there's 3 questions I always wanted to ask everybody when they came in to get a job application. The first one I would ask is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'll tell you what, most shop owners and business owners get scared if somebody says, I want to own my own business in 5 years. Do not be scared of that employee. They're highly motivated. They're going to be a good worker for you. And you got 5 years to convince them to work for you or become a manager for you and not go out on their own. That is really big thing on there. Don't be scared of that answer on there, but that answer shows they're motivated. Those are employable people. The other one is, the next question I ask, when was the last time somebody did you wrong? I'm going to tell you right now, if that person can think real quick, my ex-boss did this, and this, guess what? You're the next ex-boss.
Yeah.
And then the third question I ask, when was the last time somebody did something nice for you? And I'll tell you what, if they can't answer that or can't give you an example when somebody did something nice for them, that tells them what kind of person you're dealing with. I'll give you an example. I had an employee I had been interviewed one time and I asked these 3 questions to. 5 years, I'd like to own my own business. Okay, that's great. What's the last time somebody did you wrong? And he sat there for a few minutes and he goes, honestly, if somebody did me wrong, I just don't know about it. I was like, okay, I like that answer. Then I go, when was the last time somebody did something nice for you? He goes, oh, my wife, she got up this morning, made me breakfast, got me coffee, sent me out to this interview, wished me luck. It was just wonderful. And I'm sitting there going, there was no hesitation on these answers or anything like that. That guy, we employed him and he turned out to be a very good employee. He is dependable, reliable. He's always showing up on time. He went the extra mile to help the business. So you got to think about all this stuff when you're going to that final spot where you're trying to get to an interview with an employee, all the actions that lead up to that. How does it paint the picture for your business? What are you saying? What are you selling? What are you actually putting out there to say, hey, come work for me. You're going to have a great time here.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So, we covered a lot of little ground pieces here and everything else, but I know there's a lot of things that people have that are questions about. I can't find the right people. I hear this all. I'm in a rural area. Nobody applies in my area. There's no technicians in my area. Cast that net bigger and wider. I tell everybody right now, there are certain areas in the country right now. If you want employees, you can get them to move anywhere in the United States. If you sell your community, your shop, and good school systems, safe environment, good neighborhoods, cost of living's affordable, anything like that. You put that out there and you can get people to move. And I'll give you examples. And I'm not trying to pick on anybody living in these areas. But Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, LA, Portland, Seattle, these are all places that people want to leave. They're not happy there. They're not liking the environment that they're put in. And if you cast your net out in those cities and put your hiring ads out there, they will and say, hey, look, I'll help you with relocating costs. Or any of those kind of things you can do as a business, you'd be surprised the number of applications you'll get in.
Yeah, and you've got to be willing, if somebody seems like a really good fit and they're out of state, if you can wait for them to come and do a working interview, that's great. But letting them know that you're interested and finding out when they're moving and if you can help them. Yeah, that's all definitely a good tractor.
Yeah. So, one of the last things, because we don't want to take up a lot of your day, we know everybody's busy out here, but one of the things I want to talk about is we have the shop business analysis. It does everything we're talking about here. It helps you evaluate your recruiting, your hiring, your policies, your procedures, your structures, your pay structures. We walk through and see how your business is running. Is it efficient? Is your workflow procedures working well? And we go through and find out what areas in your business could be improved on, what areas of your business are doing well, and how do you tie this all together? What recruiting actions are you doing? How are they working? They'll diagnose all of that during this process with you. So what happens is a team of consultants will have you send in information, they'll interview you, they'll walk through everything they can find about your business, online presence, everything. And then they're going to come back and give you a couple-hour presentation on what you need to change to make your business better. And this includes hiring. This helps you out with your hiring and everything else. If this is something you're interested in, Carolyn posted a link in the chat. You can click onto it or just let us know you're interested in doing this, because we're here to help you guys. And recruiting is a full-time job right now. If you're a business owner trying to be a mechanic, trying to be a driver, trying to be a parts guy, trying to be a service writer, and running the business all at the same time, you don't have the time to recruit. And I know getting employees is what helps you do that. But at the same time, you want to make sure that if you spend the right amount of time recruiting, you'll get those people. And it's a full-time job right now. I guarantee it's not something you can just do 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. And Chris, I'll let you follow up with that, because you had to put a lot of effort and a lot of time into recruiting. It wasn't something that just happened overnight.
We did. And I will say, we've been with Drive for a long time. 2003 is when we had our original SBA. We picked up again in 2017. The shop business analysis is wonderful because it points out areas that I didn't even know that we needed to work on in the shop. And the recruiting help that I've gotten from Drive just over the last year it's been awesome with, helping me figure out how and where and whatever else I needed to do to get employees. Because when everybody leaves all at the same time, and all of a sudden you're having to be a technician and a service advisor and the marketing coordinator and the accountant and everything else, it does get very overwhelming. But recruiting is where it needs to start, because you're not going to be able to focus on anything else until you get the people that you need. And finding good people, that's a very good, you've got to find the people that are gonna fit in with how you want to run your business, and that are more interested in helping you grow your business rather than just coming in for a paycheck and going home.
Yeah. And one last thing before we turn everybody loose or take questions from the audience, Drive has also created what we call the employee management app. This is all about recruiting. It's about keeping you organized as a business owner. It organizes where you're placing your ads, who's actually responding to the ads, what resumes are you getting. You can rate the resumes as they come in with a star rating. You can put, it has pre-interview scripts in there. Phone interview scripts. It has interview scripts. It has the onboarding process of onboarding an employee when you do decide to hire it. And it keeps track of everything you're doing in your hiring lines. And why I say this is important for a lot of shop owners, what I see happens in a lot of shops, you go out and you recruit for a technician, you get one. You then put that recruiting file away, you forget about it. 90 days later, that technician doesn't work. What do? You go right back to the drawing board and you start all over again. Well, you had applications that came in before. Did you interview them? Did you actually ask them and tell them, look, we're all full right now. I ain't got a position, but if I have one come available in the future, would you like me to reach out to you? build those resume piles up, build those people on standby waiting to come work for you, because you never know when you're going to need an employee. You may have an employee that gets hit by a bus, and I hope that doesn't happen. One that wins the lottery, ones that has to move out of state to take care of their parents. It happens. These things happen all the time. It's not just that you did something bad or they did something bad with your business. It's the fact that life happens in different things and you don't know when you're going to need your next employee. So always be in recruiting, keeping track of it, keeping it organized. This is a big thing for your shop. And those that do it have no problems finding employees.
That's, yeah, the always recruiting part is very, very important.
And if you're interested in that app during the SBA, they will do a demo of that app and show you how it works and what it would take to get you set up with it. So at this point in time, I will take questions for Chris or myself. And while we're doing that, I just want to say, Chris, thank you for joining me here today and putting up with my voice. I thank everybody for putting up with my voice. I hope soon it'll be back to normal. But I just want to thank you, Chris, for joining it, taking time out of your day to help other shop owners today.
Always a pleasure, Dave.
So do we have any questions out there? Okay, if you can unmute or you can put them in the chat, either way, we'll answer your questions. If not, we want to wish everybody to have a good day and finish the week strong. And then, like I said, if you need help recruiting, reach out to us to Drive. We have many different ways to help you recruit. Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.